Good evening, Charles City, and thank you to everyone that is joining us this evening. We're here tonight for our State of the County and our Broadband Town Hall Take Two. And the reason it is Take Two is because last Monday night, we attempted to become virtual and live, and we did not, were not successful at that due to technical difficulties. So Michelle Johnson, a county administrator, and myself are here tonight to do our Take Two meeting. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Johnson for the first part of our presentation tonight, which is the State of the County. Ms. Johnson?
Thank you so much, Mr. Coda, and welcome Charles City and all of those that are joining us tonight. We want to come to you again live through Facebook and YouTube tonight. Like Mr. Coda said, on the last original town hall, we had some technical difficulties, but it's important to administration, the Board of Supervisors, that we bring you a quality product. And so we wanted to make sure that we came back and did exactly that and give you an opportunity to see our presentations, to give you an opportunity to ask questions, and so that we can make sure that everybody's engaged, or as many people as engaged as possible. And so tonight we're going to talk about the 2019 accomplishments, the state of the county for Charles City County. In 2019, we got a lot done. You know, the Board of Supervisors and I, we strive to improve the quality of life for citizens here in Charles City County. And our theme for 2019 was Imagine Tomorrow. So when we look at Charles City County, or we think about Charles City County, we're always focusing on how we can grow, how we can become better than we were yesterday or the year before. And so when you imagine tomorrow, what will it look like? And in 2019, we had some goals and some objectives that we focused on. We wanted to have sustainable finances. We wanted to invest in our staff. We wanted to improve the facilities, and of course, create community engagement, and then also economic development projects. And so there are a lot of things that were accomplished in 2019 that we can now look back and say, you know what, we got a lot done. And so the first thing when we look at you know, sustainable finances, one of the mottos for the Board of Supervisors to me is that do more with less. And so when we look at our finances, we can now say and be proud that we have sustainable finances. In 2019, Charles City County received the highest budgetary award from the Government Finance Officers Association. And that's a great award that we were granted for outstanding budget preparation. Also in 2019, we partnered, or we secured services through Davenport Financial Services that's well known across the Commonwealth. And we received the outstanding rating on how we're sustaining our finances. And so we're excited because we know that we can't get anything done in Charles City if we don't have the finances to do so. And so it's very important to us to safeguard tax dollars and to invest those tax dollars properly. And so I'm happy to report that in 2019, we received high standards from very reputable organizations for Charles City County. When we looked at our staff, we are continuously growing in Charles City County, and we wanted to make sure that we have invested in our staff in order to bring a quality product to the citizens, right? So when you come in and do business, if you're inquiring about something in the community, we want to make sure that our staff is equipped with the correct resources to provide a quality product. So in 2019, we invested in them by assisting with degrees. So we had staff that earned degrees in specific areas. They earned certifications. They grew in their positions. They networked in a lot of different areas. They attended seminars and webinars. And so our staff they're on the move and improving the quality product that we bring to you. So we're very excited about that. So when we looked at our facilities in 2019, we looked at everything that wanted to be done. And I'm happy to report that we have an outstanding public works department who a lot of the projects that we were able to get completed were done in-house. And so we didn't have to get third-party contractors for a lot of projects. And so in 2019, we looked at all of our facilities throughout the county. We came up with a preventative maintenance schedule. We came up with a schedule to just improve the facilities across the county. And so you'll see in the video that's going to be posted shortly how we just give you a snippet of some of the things that we did. We improved parks, we improved the buildings, some of our government buildings, the landscaping throughout the county, because we want to make sure that not only you are proud of the facilities that we have, but also when visitors come to Charles City, they see a beautiful place that it's a natural, we have plenty natural resources, but we could take care of the facilities that we reside in. And so we wanted to make not only you proud, but make you see or help you see that we are taking care of the facilities. 2019 was a great year for community engagement. It was our second year of our concert series. And so we were able to bring concerts to the county or to the community all for free. And so no tax dollars were used for that. We had great sponsors. And I think the most exciting thing for 2019 for me was that we had our first annual fireworks show. And so if anybody knows me knows that I love fireworks. And so we were able to bring fireworks to the county at the Charles City High School for 4th of July. And even though COVID canceled a lot of our community engagements, we were able to just bring the fireworks portion this year. And both fireworks from 2019 and 2020 were sponsored by S-Power, the solar plant that's slated to come to Charles City. So we had concerts. We recognized the Black Sox baseball team, the original Black Sox here in the county. And so we want to make sure that as we're growing Charles City, as we are becoming a stronger community, that we keep everybody engaged, that no matter where you live or what you do, we can actually bring you events that everybody can come together and we can be one community. The last area that we focused on and that we're continuously focusing on is economic development here in the county. And so we know that we want to grow Charles City County very strategically. And so in 2019, we opened our first retail space, the Dollar General. And I think in times like these, especially during COVID, we saw that that'd be a great asset for our community. So in December, I think it was November, December, we had the grand opening of the Dollar General, and it was amazing. And it's still to this day, it just warms my heart when I pass by there and I see the parking lot full. I know that citizens are very appreciative of the amenity, and we have a lot of things that we're going to be announcing later this year, so we're excited about that. One of the large projects that we approved in 2019 that will has a great impact or economic impact was we had a purchase of the Rivers Rest Marina. And so we have a developer, and Mr. Cota has frowns in his face. I'm not really sure why, but we have Rivers Rest is going to be restored. And so therefore, we're going to have a RV park that's going to bring a lot of attractions, a lot of visitors to our community. So that was one of the larger projects that we bought for approved in 2019. So we're making great strides for the economic development area. And I know that's something that a lot of citizens have concerns about, and we're going to do in the second half of our presentation tonight is the internet. But I'm happy to announce that, you know, in November or maybe September, in the fall, I would say, I had staff to apply for the Virginia Technology Initiative Grant. And I'm excited to say that Charles City County was one of the recipients of this award. And so high-speed internet, we got $3.9 million, but we'll go more into that in our next presentation. But in 2019, we received the notification that we were successful in that application. And so high-speed internet is on the way to Charles City. So if I gave you everything that we accomplished in 2019, I promise you we would be here all night, but I'm not going to give you every intricate detail. But those are some of the highlights that we focused on. This year, we're focusing on 5 pillars that we'll, share with you later next quarter. But one of the things that we're so excited about is that we are moving Charles City forward. And so when we look at what we've done in 2019, we can sit back and say, you know, we did a great job, but to the Board of Supervisors and I, we're just getting started. And so we're going to show you just a preview of what we got accomplished through a video. And so therefore you can see some of the highlights. So I think the video is going to be loaded now, and we should be ready to go so you can have some of the highlights. There we go. Let's pause it for a minute, Miranda. So thanks for your patience, everybody. I think we have to, we're going to take you back and fix the sound in it, because it seems like we can't hear, people can't hear the sound. Still no sound, guys. I can hear something now. Try, just hit one slide really quick. Let me see. No. I think they can. It's music. Okay, it's just music. Okay. Did you? All right, so we're going to start that over and try it again. It's just the music, so if we don't have sound, it's just the music that's playing. So just enjoy the video. Thank you so much for your patience. Mr. Sullivan will be with you momentarily on internet questions. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back and we want to thank you for your patience. So when we look at the video, that did not have any voiceover. It was just music. So when it's shared, we will have music. This is not a Zoom platform. And so my earbuds don't have anything to do with it. There's somebody running the program tonight or the live tonight in the background. So we thank you for your patience. And so tonight we wanted to just give you some highlights of 2019, the state of the county, which we were hoping to launch, but then COVID hit. And now we're going to go into the broadband update. Thank you for your patience. And thank you for all your positive comments because we're excited to see them come in. So Mr. Coda, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about the broadband update, and then I'll come back with a presentation that has no sound. It's just going to be a slideshow so we can go through exactly what's going to be presented, and then we'll open the floor up for questions. I see we have several questions that have come in, and so we're going to attempt to take care of those questions by the end of the evening.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Broadband is the #1 topic for me tonight. A lot's going on with broadband. I want to talk briefly about where we've been with broadband, and I do consider it a failure up to this point. I've said that in many meetings, and I will continue to say that until the day that we start signing up people in Charles City on broadband, whether it be wireless or whether it be through Comcast. There are 3 different broadbands and internets coming to Charles City. One is already here, and that's called WOW, W-O-W, Wireless on Wheels. And that is a small, little, portable, solar-powered mobile units that, am I still on there? Am I still on the screen? Okay. That are strategically located throughout the county in 3 different locations. That's in addition to the library, the schools, to where people can pull up and get on the internet today. Other than one of those, that has seemed to work pretty well up to this point. The one that's at the Tribal Center, we're having some issues with as far as the location and all, and we are in the process of checking on other locations to position that for better reception. Back about 5 years ago, we received a $600,000 grant from the state. A lot of people think that we wasted the money and didn't do what we were supposed to with it. That grant was actually not for broadband at all. That grant was to run the dark fiber from Route 60 over in New Kent into the industrial center. And that was a grant to attain and retain businesses in the county. And that has worked very, very well. Most of the businesses in the industrial center, businesses such as ABC Trucking, Bruce Howard, those type of businesses, they are on that internet through SCS being the provider and are very happy with the service. And that $600,000 was spent very wisely, and it has been working very well for about 5 years now. With the addition of fiber into the industrial center, our planning director at the time said, hey, this is a great opportunity for us to access that fiber and to leverage that in order to put it airborne and provide wireless broadband. We built the first transmitting tower, which, even though we used current topography software at the time, turned out to be just about 32 feet too short in order to clear the landfill. And to be able to access the other 2 towers, one that was already in place at the sheriff's office, and one tower that we built down behind the old Ruthville High School. So therefore, it was the big bottleneck that we ran into with that. So over the course, we redesigned and actually built a brand new tower, a 195-foot tower, so that we could stay under the FFA rules and regulations at an elevation of 40 feet higher in the industrial center. That has been tested and is working very well in order to transmit to the other towers. And all of this broadband I'm talking about right now is wireless broadband. It has nothing to do with the Comcast deal. So I want to make sure that we keep these two separate tonight as we talk, so that we don't get misinformation between the two of wireless and Comcast. SCS Broadband is in the process of outfitting the new tower. And he was at our meeting last week, although that meeting you couldn't see or hear very well. And he estimates that within 60 days, that SCS Broadband will start signing up the first people on the wireless broadband. The original tower that we built that was too short, we're looking at options as far as moving that down into District 3 once all the equipment is off of it, so that we can offer more coverage down in District 3, because District 3 will be the district that does not have as much coverage from the wireless side of it. So that's the wireless SCS side of it. And he actually gave a presentation, and he gave the package prices, Ms. Johnson, is going to be on a slide.
It's at the end of my presentation. We just dropped it into my presentation for this evening, since we're doing take two. Yes, sir.
Okay. And if anyone would like a copy of this presentation, I've already sent it out to a couple of people in the county, and it has the package pricing from SCS on there and all.
Well, we can make the presentation available on the website so that they can have it, and we can put that up by tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So now let's flip over to Comcast Broadband, and that's where the $3.9 million grant from the state came in that we accepted from Governor Northam back in February, I think it was, Ms. Johnson, maybe January. That program has, I actually put a map out, as you can see here.
And it'll be a part of my presentation, sir.
I know, but that is a map that was put out. I put it out on my Facebook page to give constituents an idea of the coverage that they're going to be able to have with this Comcast broadband. We are scheduling a town hall for Comcast in late September, 1st of October, Ms. Johnson?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So that Comcast will be at the table to answer a lot of the questions that you all are asking here tonight. And I'm going to go through all the questions that have come through and try to answer them to the best of my ability. Comcast, the $3.9 million that we received from the state, and also Comcast put up in excess of $1 million in order to put in-ground fiber within the county to serve about 2,250 homes. That's going to leave about 500 homes that are not going to be able to get access from the Comcast. And that's a lot where the wireless will fill in. However, there are still unanswered questions that we don't have the answers yet as of today. But at our last board meeting, the question was asked, would the wireless cover those other 500 homes? And the answer to that is no. It will not cover every home. Even when Comcast is in full swing, full production or full capacity, and the wireless is in full capacity, there are still going to be a few homes that will not have access to broadband. And we will be working on that as we go forward. This is a 5-year project. We're in the home stretch finally, and we have 2 options instead of 1. So I'm very excited about broadband coming to the county. Now, Ms. Johnson, when would you like to start answering some of the questions? You want to show the presentation on broadband first, or would you
I'll show the broadband presentation first, Mr. Chairman, and then we'll look at some of the questions. And what we'll do is just go down the road that we see on our screen for questions, and we'll address them accordingly. And then if there are any other additional questions. So, Ms. Sledge, if you could share my screen, thank you. So like Mr. Cody said, this has been a long time coming. And so we have started to implement the infrastructure. Next slide. Next slide. All right, so in January of 2020, Governor Ralph Northam presented a check in the amount of $3.9 million to Charles City County. And if you can see on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, Charles City County, out of a large number of applicants for the VODI grant, received the highest amount of $3,966,012 for the VODI initiative. And so we're excited that it was a very competitive grant process, but you can see that our other localities, some of our neighboring localities there, the award that they received, but actually Charles City County received the highest award. And so even though I know it's a long time coming, we worked hard. We submitted our application, at the last hour because there was a lot of information we had to put together. But I was excited when I found out that out of all the localities, we were the highest recipient. And so this is what actually started or kicked off our high-speed internet project with Comcast. Next slide. And so 3.9 million was given to the county. And we will skip this slide because that's a video. Next slide. Next slide. And so out of the 3.9 million was given to the county by the Commonwealth, and 1.3 million was a 25% match done by Comcast. And so this award gave us 140 miles, or exactly 2,350 homes and businesses that will receive high-speed internet. Like Mr. Cody said, we ran into some tower infrastructure failures, and so we have relocated a brand new tower, 199 feet at a 40-foot higher elevation, and we're in the process of moving the tower, the 120-foot tower that had some problems, down to District 3, and all of the wireless infrastructure will be provided by SCSBROADBAnd. So like he said, we'll have 2 carriers here in the county. Next slide. And so as you can see, the construction has started. As of August 12th, 12% of the construction is completed. And so just to give you some idea, they have to start the main infrastructure from Henricos County, down Charles City Road to Old Union Road, through Bonnets Road, come up to Lot Carey, to end up at the central location on the tower on Montford Road, the Comcast Tower on Route 155. And so the map that you're going to see is the main infrastructure that they have to run through the county, that's going to actually allow them to expand an additional infrastructure to get the product directly to the homes. Next slide. So one of the things, and you can go on to the next slide, one of the things that, when we signed the contract with Comcast, I want everyone to understand that we signed for in June of 2020. And so according to the contract guidelines, Comcast has 1 year to finish the entire 140 miles. Next slide. And so in finishing that infrastructure, as you can see in this map, and this is mainly the main infrastructure that's going to be running through the county, and then they'll be able to add to this main infrastructure. So the map that you see is actually the infrastructure that's in the ground. And then some areas, there will be infrastructure on poles. And so that's what's going to narrow the gap. So if you don't see actually your street on it, it may not be the main infrastructure that's going in the ground. It may be on some poles. But like I said, Comcast will come to us late September, 1st of October to answer more questions. And so 1 year from June 20th, so June 2021, the project has to be complete. But here's the thing that I want everybody to understand. When that infrastructure passes your home, it has been tested and is completed, then they can start connecting people immediately. So it won't be that, the infrastructure is all completed and then we start connecting people. Once they lay the main fiber and the main infrastructure, they add the additional infrastructure. Next slide. Then they will start connecting people as they go. And so a lot of people say, well, we're still not going to get it until June. So we will see, Comcast will give us the timeline, but we will start to see people being connected way before June. And so, like I said, they've already completed 12% as of in early August. So they're constantly working. And so the main infrastructure is installed. Comcast will begin to test that infrastructure, and then they will add additional infrastructure. Once that is tested, the homes will start to be connected. Next slide. So once all the infrastructure has been tested and complete, Comcast is developing the marketing plan to bring to communicate to citizens once passings on homes are confirmed. So you will start to receive direct mail pieces, door hangers, emails. You'll see social media ads. Comcast has sponsored all of our drive-up movies. Unfortunately, we've had rain, so we haven't been able to have them, but they are rescheduled for later this month into October. And so you will also see information passed out or during that segment. So once your area has been installed and tested, that's when information will go out, and we'll be communicating that on our channels as well. Next slide. So when we look at the total number of houses in Charles City County, we have 3,391 homes according to the 2019 census. The contract actually covered 2,350 homes. Next slide. And so that leaves roughly about 1,000 homes that still need to be connected. And so SCSBROADBAND will bridge the gap for those homes. And then we will see, once we have SES, all of their infrastructure is tested, and all of Comcast's infrastructure, once we get closer, we'll see how much infrastructure, where we need to fill in those gaps. And so the goal is to have, of course, 100% connection, but this will get us right in the 90-93% range during this first phase. And so I know we would love to see everybody connected, but everybody won't get connected, in this first phase. But of those 1,041 homes, SCS will be able to fill the gaps for majority of those, but we will know those numbers once they have their infrastructure that's being installed as we speak, and then tested, and then we'll have a tighter number. And so we are negotiating to move that tower to District 3 for extra coverage. Now, I want to be clear that some of District 3 will receive, have the Comcast option as well, but not the entire district. Next slide. Charles City frequently asked questions. And so we have been receiving a number of emails and information, or if it was written on some questions. And so we just wanted to review those questions tonight. Next slide. Per the document submitted on the DHCD application, the role of the internet being installed with Charles City was supposed to be rolled out in June. Is that time frame still on? The answer was yes. And like I said, the contract was signed in June 2020, and the project is now 12% complete, and that was actually as of August 12th. So I'm sure that percentage has increased more than that by August the 24th. Next slide. Where can residents see a map of what areas in Charles City County will have Comcast available, and an estimate of when it will be available for each year? Like Mr. Cody said, he's placed it on his Facebook page. It's on the county website. And as when Comcast comes in, they start connecting people, that map will change from the infrastructure to actual homes connected. So we will be able to see, how many homes are getting connected. Next slide. And we've seen the map as previously provided. So here are some of the packages for Comcast. What is the status of county residents getting affordable internet in your district? And so as you can see, the residential tier, Xfinity internet service package will start at $74.95. With Xfinity TV or voice service, it will be a slightly small reduction to $61.95. So this is a package based on the amount of speed that you would like to have in your home that Comcast is going to offer. Next slide. So this is for residential, and then this is the business tier for the county. Next slide. How much will wireless systems cost to establish, and what are the source of those funds? The final contractor price for the 199-foot tower constructed by RCS Communication was $104,999. $990 that I can say is ready to go. And SCS is actually hanging infrastructure on that tower as we speak. Next slide. What is the implementation timeline for the wireless system? And so the implementation timeline is infrastructure will be completed in early October, and customers in District 1 and District 2 connections will begin late October or 1st of November. Next slide. What plans are in place to ensure that we are afforded the same opportunity as other districts in the county? So like I said, the county is examining all districts to ensure 100% coverage by the time all of the project is completed. Who pays for the cable installation between the road and the house? So part of our contract, any connection beyond the 300 feet will be the homeowner's responsibility, and this will be measured on a case-by-case basis. So if your home is beyond 300 feet from where the infrastructure is laid, then we will have Comcast identify those properties. When they were doing the analysis, it was about 136 homes that were beyond the 300 feet. But again, it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. We don't have a cost per foot, but that is something that we've submitted to Comcast to be ready to answer when they come to the Comcast section of the town hall. And the time frame, like I stated before, what is our estimated time frame? By June 2021, the entire Comcast project has to be installed, tested, services to home must be completed according to the contract with the Commonwealth. Next slide. So SCS Broadband, like I said, is the wireless provider. Next slide. And so they were here at the last town hall meeting, but could not make it on tonight, but I did want to share their pricing. So you can see the fixed wireless unlimited data, the pricings that they will have starting at from $40 to $120, depending on the speeds that you will need for your residents. And so that's the entire update that we have at this time, and we'll be giving additional updates as we're moving forward. So that completes my presentation. Mr. Chairman, I will turn it back over to you for questions.
Let me get my microphone unmuted. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. I'm going to go through, and I'm going to start at the top and start answering questions that's on the right-hand side. So you may want to scroll back up through to see which question I'm answering. But Ms. Black, you keep, and a few other people have questioned why Ms. Johnson was talking about 2019 and this is 2020. Some people texted me and said, is there years off and this and that and the other? The State of the County address that she just gave you was to cover our last fiscal year. Our last fiscal year is from July the 1st until June the 30th. So therefore, part of 2019 and the early part of 2020 is included. That's why she was referring to 2019. I'm going to scroll on down here. So just and Mr. Furman, thank you for telling us that we're cheerleading here tonight. We always love your comments to the board, and I'm going to answer a lot of your questions. You said provide an overlay of the Comcast fiber optic lines with the existing copper lines. I'm assuming that you're talking about the lines that are on the poles now, because it stops actually at my home. And you want an overlay. I think it's probably going to be very close to the same. However, tomorrow I will get Ms. Johnson or someone from staff to contact Comcast and ask for that information. And I will get that sent out to you. And I will also have them, Ms. Johnson, by a nod of the head, because Ms. Johnson and I are not in the same room here. We can put that on the website also, Ms. Johnson.
I will actually, once I reach out to Comcast, Mr. Chairman, and give him those questions and see what type of feedback, and then we'll see if it's available or how they recommend producing that information for Dr. Furman.
All right, let me know, and if you will, let the board know and let Mr. Furman know. Also, sure. Mr. Smith and I forgot in my opening statements, Mr. Smith and Mr. Black could not be with us this evening because this was not a called board meeting, and in order for them to be here, we would have had a special call meeting with advance notice and this and that and the other. So that's why I'm here, and they send their regrets for not being able to join us this evening. Tristan Broadband, you're my neighbor, and I'm sorry I can't pronounce your last name. The boat launch at the River's Rest is not owned by the county. The only boat launch that we own is over at Lewis Tyler Park. So we don't have anything to do with the boat ramp there. Kevin Sullivan, you've asked quite a few questions and said we were trying to skip talking about the internet. And believe me, you know I like to talk about the internet, especially when we're making progress. But you say about 30% of the county will not have access, and I think I answered this question earlier. And when will they be said? We've answered that already on that question. Steve Furman, another question had, what will the coverage area of the SS towers be? Actually, it's going to grow with the addition of the fourth tower. It was originally projected that 70% of the county would be covered. And of course, that was in the beginning. That number will actually grow with the addition of the fourth tower and possibly even more towers down in District 3. For the new Comcast, what is the new total installed feet mileage for the $5 million cost? I don't understand that question, Steve. If you'll just give me a call and review that question with me, I'll be more than happy to answer that for you. Getting on down, and by the way, folks, while I'm on here scrolling through, my cell phone number is 804, and you can write this down, 363-2991. And I welcome anyone to call me at any time about the county, and my phone number is under my picture on the county website, and that is my cell phone, and I answer it up to about 9:30 every night. So still, you're more than happy to call me at any time. Still scrolling down. Steve, Mr. Furman, is that a picture of the renovated community building? I think that you got the buildings mixed up because the picture that was on the slideshow was for the community center on Ruthville Road, not the community building that's right below the sheriff's office here. But the plan for that structure, the one right down here below the sheriff's office, is going to go under total renovation. We had a big presentation about that at a board meeting. Was it last year, Ms. Johnson?
Yes, and so at the September board meeting, the developer will be back to bring the official plans and the drawings or renderings for the neighborhood facility building. So in September, we'll be rolling out the purposes, the uses for that building, Mr. Chairman.
Right, but that building is going to be totally renovated and put to some very good uses. We're very, very, very excited about what we're going to do with that building. That's okay. I'm scrolling right down. Concerned citizens, we answered the 2019. Another lovely, forget the video and answer internet question. That's what we're doing, Mr. Sullivan. So let's see here. Videotapes and citizens. I'm C5 group. I'm not really sure what you said when you say MANGES. If you want to send another one in on that. And Steve Furman, you say we touch on the COVID-19, and we've been talking a lot about COVID at every single board meeting and all. I will get Ricky Hicks to let you know the answer on your MERV 13 HVAC filters and whatnot, but I can tell you that all these buildings have had deep cleaning because of cases that we've had COVID-19. So these buildings have both undergone very deep cleanings, and our Public Works Department is constantly disinfecting and cleaning the buildings on a daily basis.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just jump ahead of you, I think Natalie Allen said, could you share the video later? Ms. Allen, yes, that will be shared on Facebook. And also, if you guys are coming on tomorrow night, I will be giving a COVID-19 update of all the expenditures and the funding that we received through the Commonwealth. So that update will be tomorrow night to further explain COVID-19 expenses. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Johnson, jump in anytime through this, please.
Not a problem.
Steve Furman, you asked about our $400,000 IT department. And our IT department, it does cost a lot to operate. And you brought this up a few times before. And if you take a look at almost any organization or any entity whatsoever, the one most common denominator that affects every human being within that organization is IT. And IT is a big piece of the pie of what we spend, because without IT, you saw what happened. Without good IT, you saw what happened to us last Monday night. And tonight seems to be a lot better success. So I guess we're putting that $400,000 to good use tonight. But IT serves every single person in this county. Every person has to do their job with IT. And so going forward, we're looking at ways to improve our online meetings for sure.
If I could jump in, Mr. Chairman, with Mr. Dr. Furman's question. And so we, with the COVID-19 funding, we have purchased new equipment that's going to be installed in the next couple of weeks, where we will be able to stream and have video of our full auditorium. And so it will be a platform that will be much easier to access. So we are using COVID-19 funding to help assist with the streaming. So it'll be a streaming platform just for the county. If I could go back up to Mr. Edison, any update on the Route 155 bridge opening? Tomorrow night at our regular Board of Supervisors meeting, Mr. Marshall Wynn will be giving us an update, but I can let you know that that project is on schedule. We do have the last update is on social media and on our website, but he'll be giving a further update tomorrow night.
Aren't they on schedule for the September 1st reopening, hopefully?
Yes, the last update that we got, that was the target date, and I'm not sure if anything has changed, whether they have moved, further in their project to push that date up. But Mr. Wynn will be giving us a full update tomorrow night, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Mr. Arrell, you just texted me. I'm actually going through the questions on Facebook as we speak. Mrs. Faith, Georgia Faith Pulliam there. You and I've had many conversations this week by way of text and all. And I'm going to get with Mrs. Johnson about your question about Charles City Road, because by the map, it does look like that Charles City Road itself is left out from 106 over to Charles City CC Road. And I will be getting with Mrs. Johnson on what can be done about that area there and who we can contact and talk to on that. Going forward, Ms. Pulliam, if you could give me the possibly the link of addresses on that road, that would help us with our communications with Comcast.
And if she wants to, Mr. Coda, if anybody would like to email me their addresses at my email that's provided on the website, I send those addresses directly over to Comcast for them to do an analysis. And so I've, assisted several citizens with questions about their resident, and so they can feel free to send those requests to me, and I can send them directly to Comcast as well, sir.
Absolutely. We answered the question, where will SCS broadband be available? How can residents contact SCS and Comcast for potential coverage? Ms. Johnson, is that information on our website?
So the SCS, if you go to their website, you can put in availability and put in your information. And so that way they are building their database so they can make sure you're in their coverage area and the speeds that are available to you. As far as Comcast is concerned, when they come in late September, early October, then they will be providing all of the coverage for the residents. They'll be able to give us a broader explanation of the map, sir. This is just the first map that they provided.
Okay. Ms. Johnson, there's been a lot of questions about how the money, the $3.9 million, is going to be dispersed, and Elizabeth Edwards on there says, does that grant give Comcast the money, or does the money pay for the network and then belong to the county? I'm going to ask you to answer that question because you are in charge of the disbursements for that.
Okay, Mr. Edwards, so the grant does cover the Comcast construction. None of the money actually comes to the county. Well, it comes to the county, but then we take the money and that's how we pay Comcast for construction. So Comcast has to submit invoices on a monthly basis. And so that $3.9 million is dispersed directly to them.
And that network will belong to Comcast, correct?
Correct.
When it's completed, we do not own it. They own it.
Correct.
They just use it to service Charles City. Okay. How far from the main infrastructure they'll service? That's the 300 feet that we talked about. Is that correct, Ms. Johnson?
Yes. And so I've been told by Comcast that is on a case-by-case basis, because depending on how far from the once they get to the 300 feet, there may be a little bit of infrastructure, and the expense will not be very or the infrastructure may not be very expensive. And so again, they will be examined on a case-by-case basis. So we can't just say if your 300 feet is going to cost this. They're going to be doing an analysis of each individual home, sir.
Okay. Next question. Ms. Pulliam also asked about the fiber lines running through her yard and whatnot. We're going to relay this information, ma'am, to the Comcast rep. And as we stated before, we are going to have a Comcast town hall meeting with a Comcast rep on hand at the end of September, first part of October. So I will keep you informed of that. I'll still have you in my phone from where we were texting one another, and I will be more than happy to make sure that you're aware of when that meeting is going to be.
If I could go up, Mr. Chairman, Wade Potter asked about Trevor's Bend, and if so, will easements be required? Mr. Potter, I will send that information over to Comcast as well. I'm not really sure. I know we had another citizen that asked about subdivisions, and so Comcast did reach out to me today and actually got the citizen's phone number and will contact them directly. So I can give them the addresses of Trevor's Bend and just make sure that you guys communicate that subdivision as well.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Not sure what your question was, Dr. Furman, about the 550 or the 1041 without. Ms. Black, you say that is not affordable for many households. We do not set the pricing. That is done by Comcast and SCS. $40 a month up to $120 for SCS. I mean, I'm not sure where affordable falls in. I know it falls in for different people in different places, but they've got a pretty good spectrum coming from all the way from $40 up to $120. But that is controlled by the providers themselves. I think I just covered that one that Mrs. Holler just said. That does not include Ms. Branch. That does not include TV. This is for internet only. And I did address the WOW trailers. And Ms. Johnson, we control I've just been handed a question. The WOW trailers, I'm asking, will they still be available after the internet and all goes in? And that's something that the county controls, because those are, even though we got a grant and it didn't cost the taxpayers nothing to build those trailers do belong to the county. And we do control them, and we can retain the service on those even after the other two broadbands are up and running. So that is something that we will discuss as we go forth.
If I also may interject, the WOW trailers were actually provided by SCS. I'm sorry, not SCS. The solar plant.
S-Power.
S-Power, I'm getting my S's confused. So S-Power actually sponsored those WOW trailers, and the goal is to keep those trailers up and operating until we have both projects for SCS and Comcast is fully implemented, and then we'll examine actually the location, because those are mobile, so we can move them to other areas if we need other coverage that's not covered by Comcast or SCS.
Okay. And
Wayne O'Reilly.
Pardon me?
Mr. Wayne O'Reilly, what happens if Comcast provides less than promised?
Where are you all on the question? Because I'm running through them down to the bottom. So I'm taking them as the order that they came in. Okay. Is that okay with you, Ms. Johnson? Okay. Yes. Dr. Furman, you're asking if the county will assure that the cost per foot for more than 300 feet will be no more than $6.81 foot. And I will tell you as one board member, no, we will not assure that. Not sitting here tonight. That question is something that we're going to have to look into a lot more in depth. And there is no way that I would commit the county nor this board to commit to that this evening. Can it be committed to? That's possible, but that's something we're going to have to look at later. And I see, Sam, you said that's the going rate everywhere. And that is, as I said, that is something we will look into for sure. Oh boy, I just messed up. I just lost it.
So Mr. Wayne O'Reilly, his next question is, can we get contact numbers for Comcast to get service beyond 300 feet? Mr. O'Reilly, they have not published the numbers yet. That's something that the marketing team has worked on. And so once we have that, we will definitely make that available to you guys.
It could still be right here. Look right here, see if it's still in there.
It's right here.
Okay.
Also, Mr. Orrell, can we get contact numbers for SCS to get service? If you go to their website, you will be able to put in your information to get into their database, and then they also have their customer service numbers on their website. You're muted, Mr. Code. If you could unmute your machine.
Thank you very much. I'm back. I hit the wrong button.
Okay, so we're at Michelle Black's question, the Sam Ray for internet only. Do you see that one?
Where are you?
Michelle Black.
Yeah. Which one?
Sam Ray for internet only. Why do I see ads for $35 to $50 a month for Verizon and Comcast?
Okay, I've got some more before that, so I'm just gonna keep scrolling down like I was, because I want to make sure that I hit every one of them. Is that okay?
I think that's fine. I think I addressed some while you were getting your screen adjusted. So I've addressed it, Mr. Orrell.
Okay. Boom, boom, boom. You hit it pretty good. What name's Comcast runs less? The previous question. Tell me where you're at, Ms. Johnson. So because I hit the wrong button and killed my screen for a moment. So just tell me where you're at so I can be in touch with you.
Okay.
Sam Ray for internet. Are you and Michelle Black, Sam Ray for internet only?
Yes, that's where I am. Okay. So we're back on the same page.
All right. Did you answer that question for Ms. Black while I was trying to get back online?
No, that's where that's where you're taking over.
Okay, thank you. Michelle Black says, why do I see ad for $35 to $50 a month for Verizon and Comcast? I don't know, Ms. Black, if you'd like to forward that to us. I'm not sure which ad you're talking about. That wasn't in our presentation, was it, Ms. Johnson?
No.
Okay. So Ms. Black, if you will forward that to me, I will be more than happy to see what you're talking about. The development. Ms. Johnson, read the next question with me to make sure I understand it, from Jim Eisenberg.
I'm concerned about the property next to us, which was also purchased by the same developers that purchased Rivers Rest Marina. I met with the previous head of the development department and was reassured that would not be permitted. I now see where the county is adding verbiage for this in the zone ordinance. Can the county reassure us that we're not going to make an RV park next to us? Mr. Eisenberg, we will need to have more information from you, and you can speak to our current development director, Assistant County Administrator Rhonda Russell, to answer that question, sir. We can get you that answer.
Sharon Lord Brown, the campground, by looking at the map, and if I'm reading it correctly, they will have access to the internet.
And also the developer is preparing so SCS will be able to have monopoles at different locations. And so that developer is planning to have the infrastructure just for the campground as well.
And Kelly Orrell, speaking of Public Works Department, is there a way to get painting done at school? The school handles that, Mrs. Orrell. We just handle the grass cutting and all out of our Public Works Department. So that is handled by the schools themselves. Preparing mail-in voting this year. Not that I'm aware of, Mrs. Holler. We are not preparing, not that I'm aware of, are we preparing for mail-in voting? That would probably be a state mandate that would come from the state. That wouldn't be a Charles City thing. Good use of COVID-19 funding. I'm not sure what that means, Mr. Furman, but there is going to be a full report on the ACT CARE funding, the COVID-19 funding tomorrow night. There will be a 100% breakdown. And I think we just gave 300,000. What was the figure we gave to the schools out of that funding, Ms. Johnson?
So we provided the schools, they requested $232,000. So we gave them their request from our COVID-19 funding. And so a part of that, I think about $146,000 of that will be used for air cards for students to assist with the virtual learning. And so we've already sent that information over to Dr. Joppi, and so she's preparing her staff. Not sure how she's going to roll out the air cards or that technology for the students, but the county did provide the school system $232,000.
Thank you so much.
Is Barnett's Road covered? Ms. Breyer asks.
And is Barnett's Road covered? The majority of Barnett's Road does fall under the coverage of the Comcast map. There's probably about 30 to 35% as I look at the map that's not covered. Ms. Roberts, when will the Board of Supervisors agenda be provided? It should have been provided already. That is supposed to go out on the Friday prior to the meetings. And so I will inquire as to why that wasn't posted, or if it has been posted, where it was posted. That is supposed to be done every Friday. So we will get into that.
If not, Mr. Chairman, we can email that to Ms. Roberts, not a problem.
Anybody that wants to see the Board of Supervisors agenda, please call Lisa Jones or Miranda Pine, thank you, at our main number. Get on the email list and you will have that information as soon as it rolls off the press, because we do have a group email to send out those agendas, but that is supposed to be out there. Can you clear that? Ms. Edwards, the map is that we shared is the main infrastructure. What roads will get service, any additional roads that's not on the map will have to come from Comcast. This is the very first map that we've been able to come out that actually shows roads on it. The first map was just encompassed the county as a whole. And then I requested a more detailed map, and this is what I have, and I'm going to request even a more detailed map after that. The one that I put out, I made a photocopy of and had to convert it to an image, and it was fuzzy. But as soon as we get any more information on that, we will be putting it out there. Pretty much covered that one. And my understanding that the fiber is owned privately. I think Comcast owns the fiber, man. The fiber that's coming in, they're feeding it off of their trunk lines. And that's why if you look at the map that I provided, there's 2 dots on it, and those are Comcast towers. The one dot dead in the center of the county, that is on Mumford Road, and that feeds off of their Comcast tower there. So I'm not sure. I think one company does own it, and that would be Comcast. Okay, Michelle Black. Okay, she's saying that the cheapest Comcast was $75. I see what you're talking about, ma'am, and I do thank you for clarifying that. That slide will be available on our website, the Comcast charging. And Ms. Johnson, how are we doing on time?
We are at 1 hour and 15 minutes, sir. Okay,
we're good. Because I'd like to answer them all if we could. Wade Potter, thank you for thanking Ms. Johnson. We do like to hear positive comments every now and then about what we're doing.
You're welcome, Mr. Potter.
What happens, Christina Brown says, what happens to citizens that can't afford the internet, especially with our students going virtual? That is an extremely good question. And that is something that I cannot answer tonight, but that question will definitely be on the at the forefront going forward. And I really do appreciate the last part of that question, especially with our students going virtual, because it is imperative. Dr. Furman, I don't think that purchasing equipment for improved public meetings, is that an approved use for the COVID funding, Ms. Johnson? Because I know that we are really restricted to parameters on the COVID funding as to what we can spend them on, and you're going to find out all about that tomorrow evening. So, Dr. Furman, if you'd ask that question tomorrow night, we'll answer that. Unless Ms. Johnson.
So, Dr. Furman is saying purchasing equipment for improved public meeting connections is a good use of COVID-19 funding, and so that funding does allow us to implement infrastructure that will allow us to go virtual. And so that is approved by the state. We had to submit all of our expenses to get approved before we purchase them. That's why we haven't purchased them yet, because we had to submit. But again, a full presentation of that will be tomorrow night. One of the things that the catch is that we recently got an additional $600,000 last week, but they did not change the deadline. So we have to have all the funding spent and equipment installed by December 31st. So we have a race to run here in Charles City to make sure, because we're not going to turn back any of that money, but we will be able to, part of the money is to assist with virtual infrastructure for meetings, for teleworking and that sort of thing.
All right, folks, I see that as our last question. you're more than welcome to get on that keyboard and ask us anything you'd like. Ms. Johnson, are we going to be doing tomorrow night's meeting in this manner also?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tomorrow night we will have 2 public comment periods. Now we've had a lot of questions tonight, and I will try to answer as many as possible tomorrow night. And if time permits, I will definitely make sure that we answer. Well, excuse me, I'll take that back. We will have all public comments, and a lot of them will be answered during the board directives and comments. We don't always answer them all due to time or whatever, or we have to get information and get back with folks. And Steve said this is a positive comment. I thought it was too. I mean, if we can use that money to buy additional equipment and it falls under the guidelines for the CARE Act funding, I'm a big fan. Ms. Johnson, we are not going to do Zoom tomorrow night, correct?
No, actually, Zoom is having a problem nationwide, and so we will be using the same platform, going Facebook Live, going YouTube Live, and then we're using a streaming service called StreamYard that you and I are working on now. And so we want to make sure that we don't have any technical difficulties like we did, at our previous town hall meeting.
Jim Eisenberg, on your question about Upper Shirley, I'm looking at the map, and I do believe, I could be wrong, I do believe that there is a spur coming off of Route 5 going over to Upper Shirley. Let me get back with you on that. And Mr. Eisenberg, if you will get on Facebook on my page and just friend me or whatever so that I can know how to get in touch with you. But I will have to double check, but there are 2 spurs coming off Route 5 in that area. Wayne, thank you for thanking us for the follow-up meeting. Can some of that funding be directed to schools? Ms. Shands, some of that funding has been directed to the schools, but like I said, we have to follow under guidelines on how we spend that particular money.
If I could interject, Mr. Cotman, Ms. Benita Cotman-Lewis, I know at our last Board of Supervisors meeting, you brought up a great point that I took to Comcast. I know you were stating that a lot of our county is wet. And so your question or your comment was just to check into or verify that the infrastructure that's going in the ground won't be affected by the wetlands. And so they assured me that they have a new technology. It's the tubing or the infrastructure that goes in the ground will not affect the fiber optics lines. So we did check into that, Ms. Benita Cotman-Lewis.
C5, thank you for the thanks. I'm glad we got it right this time. And we'll do what it takes to get it right going forward. And Ms. Edwards, duly noted. We'll look into that as we go forward also. Ms. Johnson, I'm going to go ahead and close out the meeting. And I want to thank everyone. How many people did we have on Facebook, Ms. Hayes?
Top 81.
81?
And top 23 on YouTube.
At one point, we had 81 people on Facebook and 23 on YouTube. If we could get that many people at our meetings all the time, that would be awesome. And so
looks like C5 has one last question, Mr.
Go ahead, C5. But I do want to thank everybody as they're typing in their question for getting on here tonight. We will actually considering moving our meetings over to the high school if this didn't work tonight, but it has worked. And I do want to continue this because with COVID and all, we want to be able to go virtual and whatnot. When will we post BOS meetings? Ms. Roberts, what do you mean by that question? Ms. Roberts, it says, when will you post Board of Supervisors meetings join on Facebook? I'm asking, are you asking, are we going to be Facebook Live with our Board of Supervisors meetings? Is that what you're asking? Because if that is the case, then that is, yes, that the answer to that is yes. Ms. Roberts, contact Ms. Johnson tomorrow. I said, I see where we had to join this. I'm not sure, but when will you post for us to join on Facebook? It's already been posted, hasn't it? We're going to double check on that, Ms. Roberts. And
No, actually, Mr. Coda, yes, the tomorrow night's meeting is posted already on Facebook, just like tonight's meeting. And it maybe it was misconstrued because both of them were together, but tomorrow's event is already posted on Facebook.
okay. I want to thank everybody
C5,
again.
I've got one. C5 said, I missed this. Did Michelle mention something about addresses to Comcast? I said that if you had a question about your address and being eligible for Comcast, you could email me and we can forward those over to Comcast.
And our meeting tomorrow night is at 7 p.m. We did change the board meetings to 7 p.m. going forward. So all monthly board meetings will be at 7 p.m. I want to thank everybody again. I hope we answered all your questions. My phone number's out there. Ms. Johnson's always available. We have Rhonda Russell available as the Assistant County Administrator. So we're available to you all at any time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.